Right. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us tonight. My name is Alejandra Hernandez, and here are also my colleagues, Paulina Valdez and Gonzalo Perez from the Gage Education. Tonight, we're hosting this webinar where we're going to talk about University of Western Australia and Perth as a destination for studies. So thank you very much for joining us tonight. And we also have a special guest as well, Sergio, who's an alumni from for exchange at the University of Western Australia, and he can also tell us about his story here. And Ruth Castrati, which is our main guest tonight, so she is going to talk to us about the university, the main programs, and all the questions that you can have. Please write them on the chat, and we can answer them maybe as we go or at the end of the session. Okay. And thank you, everyone. Thank you, Ruth. Thank you, Sergio, and welcome, everyone.
Okay, thank you so much. I'm just going to share my screen here. My name's Ruth, and I'm the International Relationships Manager for the University of Western Australia. So I'm located in Perth, where it's currently just past 9 a.m. So good morning, good evening, wherever you are. So yeah, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about UWA and Perth City. And as was mentioned, we have Sergio here, which is great because he can provide some student experience perspective as well. But just starting off with this slide that you can see on the screen now, this is a picture of our university. So this is the main building, which you'll see on, the brochures and on the website. It's over 100 years old, so you will note the really sort of traditional sandstone buildings, and the campus is enclosed in really beautiful gardens, and it's right by the river. So one of the first things people say when they see our university is just how beautiful it is and how picturesque. And I can attest that it is a really lovely place to work, to study, and just to be around. And this is a picture of Perth City, a very modern city surrounded by water. So we have the Swan River, which you can see in the photograph, and then the Indian Ocean also right across from Perth. So very, very much surrounded by water and nature, very modern, very clean, very safe. City of just, I think, 2.4 million people right now, but always growing. It's the fastest growing city in Australia, actually. I'm just going to start off with a video about Perth and UWA, just quickly to give you a bit of an idea of some of the imagery and what we're looking at here. So hopefully that video just gave you a little bit of an idea of what Perth and the surrounding area in Western Australia looks like. The landscape is hugely diverse, and I'm sure that some of that imagery also sparked a few memories for Sergio. I'm sure he recognized a few of those places. So I'm just going to hand over to Sergio to talk a little bit about his experience at UWA, and then I'll come back and tell you some more. Thanks, Sergio.
Yeah, you're welcome, Ruth. Bueno, pues yo tuve el privilegio de ser, junto con otra chica que se llama Mariana, los primeros jóvenes mexicanos en irnos a estudiar a la Universidad de Western Australia, en el programa de intercambio. y fue una experiencia padrísima. La verdad no sabíamos mucho qué esperar porque siempre cuando normalmente se piensa en Australia, se piensa en la costa este, que es Sydney o Melbourne, pero nosotros nos aventuramos a ir a esta ciudad de Perth y la verdad nos encantó. Creo que lo que más nos gustó fue que esta ciudad eh, te ofrece muchas ventajas porque está muy cerca de la playa, está muy cerca de muchos lugares donde puedes hacer actividades al aire libre y la calidad de vida que te ofrece es muy diferente. La verdad, nosotros que estamos acostumbrados a Ciudad de México, encontramos que Perth nos ofrecía una calidad de vida muy diferente y un estilo de vida en donde teníamos muy cerca todo y podíamos literalmente muy cerca de la universidad ir a Kings Park, que es un parque más grande que Central Park, hacer un picnic o irte ahí a estudiar. Y la verdad es que los australianos nos trataron muy bien, fueron como súper acogedores con nosotros y fueron como muy amables con todos nuestros cambios y con todas las preguntas que teníamos sobre su cultura. La Universidad de Western Australia, la verdad es que comparado con el sistema educativo de México, sí es mucho más exigente. Yo sí noté eso. Es una universidad que te permite crecer mucho académicamente y la verdad te da muchas oportunidades. Siempre que tengas alguna pregunta, hay alguien que te pueda ayudar. De verdad, siempre cuando hay finales o temas por ejemplo, de su manera de citar en las investigaciones. En la biblioteca hay gente que te ayuda, que eso es algo que yo nunca había visto. También hay un programa muy interesante que se llama Unibody o Unimentor, que esta gente te ayuda, o sea, tú llegas y es una persona que es como de una carrera afín a la tuya y que te ayuda a pues establecerte en el tema de que te dice bien, porque de hecho hay una aplicación para guiarte dentro del campus porque es enorme, te dice bien dónde están tus clases, qué son las cosas elementales, cuando necesitas ayuda, dónde tienes que ir, y como que te hace un chequeo de cómo te vas sintiendo, de que si necesitas ayuda, de que en finales si necesitas una asesoría de algo te apoyan, y es algo muy, muy padre porque también te ayudan con dónde puedes imprimir las cosas, dónde tienes que ir a sacar como tu credencial para que pagues menos en el transporte público y todos los beneficios que te da el ser un estudiante de la universidad. Y ese acompañamiento no lo encuentras en todas las partes en otras universidades. Creo que también una gran ventaja que ofrece Perth es su conexión con otras ciudades de Asia y para algunas áreas en específico de estudio, sé que Perth es la ciudad ideal, como por ejemplo lo es minería y otras áreas de estudio. También es una ciudad en donde vas a conocer a gente de todo el mundo, vas a enriquecerte de la cultura australiana, pero también vas a conocer gente de todo el mundo y es algo que se valora y es algo padrísimo. Y bueno, yo tuve la oportunidad de vivir en los colleges, que son las áreas residenciales que están enfrente de la universidad, que es la verdad lo más sencillo porque están enfrente y pues era como también tener como esa experiencia universitaria de vivir en dorms como es en Estados Unidos. Pero también ofrece la universidad otros alojamientos para diferentes, pues ahora sí que la personalidad, los gustos de cada persona y el transporte público y las maneras de llegar a la universidad es algo muy sencillo eh, y es la verdad un camino muy padre. A mí la verdad, como lo mencionaba Ruth del Swan River, a mí me encantaba correr por donde está el Swan River y donde está una casa, hay una casa de un lago que está ahí como muy famoso que se llama The Blue Boat Shed, y por ahí correr hacia la ciudad era padrísimo y siempre hay cosas pasando en la ciudad, siempre hay cosas de arte, de teatro, de cine que están pasando. Y pues creo que es una oportunidad muy padre conocer la Universidad de Western Australia. Casi siempre pensamos como Sydney, Melbourne, estas ciudades grandes, pero no nos damos cuenta que hay otras ciudades, por ejemplo, como también está Brisbane o Adelaide, pero en este caso Perth, que te ofrece como muchos beneficios. Además que más adelante van a mencionar que Perth está considerada como una ciudad regional, entonces para quedarte después de graduarte, tienes chance luego hasta un año más quedarte con la visa de graduado, a diferencia de las otras ciudades grandes como es Melbourne o Sydney.
Mm.
No sé
Thank you
qué.
so much.
Ah,
Oh, sorry,
you're
Sergio. You
welcome.
go. Keep going.
María, quería preguntarte en específico tú de en qué área estás buscando estudios.
Yo estoy buscando en el área de ciencias, me gusta mucho. Aquí tienen un diferente sistema, aquí para las que apliqué es para matemáticas aplicadas, pero pues allá como es más amplio la oportunidad de los primeros años, pues en ciencias me gusta mucho.
En programa de universidad, ¿no? ¿Verdad? No posgrado.
No, universidad,
Undergrad.
licenciatura.
Súper bien. Pues como te decía, la verdad es que el acompañamiento que te dan desde el día uno es increíble. Eh, Muchos australianos y muchos de mis compañeros luego me decían que ellos, por ejemplo, no están acostumbrados. Ahí es como en las películas de que vas a las lectures, de que vas al auditorio y te dan la clase. Y luego hay clases prácticas. Y hay mucha gente que a veces no va a todas las lectures porque también esa es una ventaja que las graban. La tienen grabadas y tú en cualquier momento si quieres repasar o te perdiste alguna, la puedes ahí volver a checar y reforzar ese tema. Además, siempre en su plataforma que tienen en línea en la universidad, siempre tú puedes estar al pendiente de qué hay que entregar por semana, de qué semanas hay que estar al pendiente de cuándo se vienen los exámenes, cuándo se vienen las semanas de ajustes, de cuando se vienen, siempre en cada semestre hay como un spring, un break, una semana que pues no se va a las clases como si fuera Semana Santa aquí en México, y para que tengas, te van diciendo todas esas fechas importantes para que tengas en cuenta, y siempre pues es un acompañamiento muy, muy bueno. También puedes rentar en la universidad sin costo en la biblioteca para tú estudiar como cubículos con aislante de sonido o sin aislante de sonido. Y si ves a la gente que está como mucho estudiando y ahí concentrada en la biblioteca, y ahí es donde yo recuerdo que también me apoyaron, que yo no sabía bien cómo citar en un formato que pedía en específico la universidad, y ahí te enseñaban y te hacían como que te checaban si tu paper tenía como plagio para que a la hora que mandarlo tú a tu profesor te fuera bien y todo. Y otra gran ventaja, Mariel, que te quería comentar es que puedes como combinar materias luego con cosas que no son de tu área. Por ejemplo, yo estudié comunicación en el Ibero y yo llevé una materia que era de música, del departamento de música, que es muy prestigioso ahí en Perth, la Universidad de Western Australia. Llevé una materia muy padre que se llamaba Música en Cine, Televisión y Videojuegos. Y yo la llevaba con pura gente que estudiaba música y nos enseñaban justo como cómo se construía el soundtrack y cómo que se justificaba el acompañamiento musical un producto audiovisual o diferente contenido mediático. Y esa fue una materia que pues a mí me revalidaron de mi carrera, pero yo sé justo muchos, por ejemplo, gente del college donde yo vivía llevaban español también, o llevaban otro idioma, o llevaban materias que son como electivas o que te dejan como mezclar dentro de tu carrera, que al final se terminan graduando un poco como en Estados Unidos, de que tienen como un major y un minor, una especialización, pero de que complementas muy bien tu carrera no solo con el tronco común o así el plan de estudios así de que solo vas a llevar esas materias, no. A ti te dan la oportunidad de aprender de diferentes áreas y, por ejemplo, tienen cosas muy interesantes también de los aborígenes australianos para conocer su cultura y toda su historia. Tienen muchas materias de eso y muchas materias en general de que son muy interesantes que pueden complementar como tu área de estudios y para descubrir como en qué área te quieres especializar o qué te gustaría ejercer. Y también algo muy importante es que les ofrecen como internships o áreas en donde pueden hacer prácticas profesionales. Eso se me hace muy importante porque salen como ya experiencia laboral y tienen muchísimas oportunidades. Tienen una feria donde van muchas que tienen como convenio con UWA y que tienen como esa posibilidad de que pues puedas hacer ahí las prácticas o pues puedes aprender con ellos durante verano o durante el semestre completo. Y algo también que me encantó es que tienen como una gran diversidad de grupos estudiantiles. Yo con el que más conviviera con Perth International, que organizaban muchos eventos para estudiantes internacionales, nos organizaban de que fiestas o reuniones, así nos hicieron un campamento padrísimo que pues te ponían en diferentes equipos con gente de diferentes países y era de competencia, pero también hay o sea, de lo que te imagines, hay de que el club de ciencia, hay uno muy padre que es de Harry Potter, que se ponen a jugar Quidditch ahí en la escuela, hay de cine, de gente que le gusta español, gente que aprende inglés, perdón, aprende francés, gente que aprende griego, gente, por ejemplo, de ascendencia asiática, y justo celebran como sus tradiciones y eso está padrísimo. Y a cada rato hay diferentes auditorios en la universidad, hacen eventos, y también para hacer deporte dentro de la universidad tienen un gimnasio padrísimo, unas albercas también para hacer natación padrísimas. Y también pues ahí está al lado el lago y la gente ahí se pone a hacer, está el equipo de rowing y hacen kayak y hacen también muchos deportes acuáticos que la verdad está padrísimo y pues te dan la oportunidad que mientras estás estudiando puedas hacer eso. Y es importante mencionar también, Mariel, que allá llevan un poco menos carga de materias que nosotros aquí en México estamos acostumbrados. Allá te van a pedir que estés al menos en el semestre con 4 materias y pues la verdad tú lo ves como, pues súper fácil, aquí en México llevamos más, pero la verdad es que sí son como más exigentes a nosotros que somos mexicanos, y te cuesta un poco como agarrar la onda, pero pues está diseñado padrísimo para que también disfrutes de las otras actividades y lo demás que te ofrece la universidad para que vivas tu experiencia universitaria al máximo.
Wow, qué padre, la verdad. Qué padre que te ofrezca tantas cosas, aparte de la estudiada, que pues
Sí,
eso ya está de más, porque sí tiene un súper buen ranking. Yo también
Exacto.
chequé algunos de los clubes y me gustaron mucho. Justo escuché uno del de Perth International que tú me contaste y unos videos de gente que organizaba los eventos y así. Y también las canchas de tenis me gustaron muchísimo.
Sí, 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 están súper cerca. Sí, las canchas de tenis también están padrísimas. Y sí, esos
Sí,
de Plan International organizan mucho para reunir a todas estas personas que están fuera de su casa. Y la verdad, a mí también algo se me hizo bien padre es que tienen como diferentes áreas en las que, por ejemplo, te ayudan en cuestión de salud mental. Así de que gente que se siente como homesick, porque tienen una gran diversidad de estudiantes internacionales, te ayudan y te dan como tips para llevar esto de extrañar tu casa y todo eso. Y pues sí, siempre el acompañamiento está ahí, la ayuda está ahí 100%. De verdad, si te quedas hasta muy tarde estudiando, hasta pasan por ti en un carrito de golf para llevarte donde esté tu coche o donde te puedas agarrar un Uber o algo así para irte, para que estés siempre todo el momento segura. Y además está padrísimo que todo el tiempo en el campus convives con naturaleza. Es muy famoso que tienen un buen de pavos reales, tienen un buen de patitos y un buen de aves que están ahí todo el tiempo cerca de ti. Y pues como que te dejas mucho influenciar y empapas mucho de la cultura australiana muy pronto.
muchas gracias.
No hay de qué.
All right, so Bert, I think this is the cue, I think, for you.
Thank you. That's great. Sergio, I can't understand or speak Spanish, but I did appreciate you giving a shout out to the Harry Potter Appreciation Society. So thank you for that. I really need to improve my Spanish. So just a little bit about Perth, and I'm sure Sergio's already explained a bit about this, but a few key things I think is the fact we do have regional status. So what that means for students is you do get one additional year of working visa once you graduate. So if you do want to take the opportunity to stay and work when you've completed, then you have that advantage over studying in one of the bigger cities like Melbourne, Sydney, or Brisbane. And that's really good to get international experience and also to help to pay back your bank loan or however you've funded your study. And when you do stay and work, the average weekly incomes are quite high above the national average. And that's because we have such a strong economy. So you would be earning on average about 9% over what the national average is. And it is more affordable to study and live in Perth than it is to live on the eastern states. So it is very good from a financial perspective, and also just a very livable city. So things like, being very safe, being very politically and economically stable, plenty of jobs and opportunities, and a very outdoors lifestyle. So the weather means that we can be outside pretty much every day of the year, which just is very nice, very easy to get around, good infrastructure, transport, that kind of thing. Although we're quite far from Mexico, and believe me, I've done that journey many times, we are very well located for the rest of the world. So in terms of our situation, in terms of Asia, Europe, the Middle East, Africa, we're actually the closest capital city in Australia. And we're in the same time zone as 60% of the world's population, plus or minus 2 hours. So that means that a lot of the trading partners like China, India, Indonesia, Japan, Hong Kong, they're all very close to us. And that provides a lot of opportunities for students to do things like internships or opportunities for placements, things like that. And in terms of cost of living, I'll just share this slide because I think this demonstrates quite well how much cheaper Perth is. So 24% lower than Sydney, 19% lower than Brisbane, and 10% lower than Melbourne for cost of living. And this is obviously, at the moment, with everything being expensive everywhere in the world, cost of living is really important. And if you're thinking of, potentially a 2, 3, 4 year course, this really does all add up and will help you save money. This is just a highlight of our economy. Like I said, we do have the strongest economy in Australia, and that's a lot of it is due to the fact that we've got a huge resource sector. So we are the largest producer in the world of iron ore, with the largest producer in the world of lithium, which is so strong right now, and it's set to increase even more with all of the renewable energy. And we're the third largest producer of natural gas and gold. So we have these industries. You don't even need to be involved in any of these industries to feel the effects of it. So it just means that we have a lot of investment, a lot of jobs, a lot of big companies who are headquartered here. And that provides a lot of opportunities and a lot of wealth and a lot of growth. Okay, so we have a low unemployment rate, and we have the high earning about as well. And this is all down to the fact that we have all of these great natural resources in our state. It's a very multicultural city. So 1 in every 3 people that you meet in Perth will be born overseas, myself included. So I'm from England originally. And that just means that it's a really nice mix where everyone is welcome. So 190 nationalities and 270 languages spoken, which is really incredible when you think that there's, you know, around just below 2.5 million people, that we would have such diversity. And that's reflected on the campus, and that's also reflected in the city. If you look at the festivals, the music, the restaurants, everything like that that's happening, you'll be immersed in so many different cultures. We do have also like a large Latin American community as well, but we would encourage you to obviously take part and get to know a whole host of friends from around the world and get immersed in the different cultures that we have. Much of this has been already explained and was in the videos, but this is really just to demonstrate just how diverse Western Australia is. It's absolutely huge. So Western Australia is the largest state, and it's actually 1/3 of the whole of Australia. So from the bottom, you've got these really beautiful forests. The weather is cool. You've got lovely beaches. And then the landscape really changes as you get north, and the climate is much drier and more what you would consider like traditional outback. So you've got these amazing, you know, million-year-old national parks and waterfalls to explore, great hiking trails and camping. You've got the opportunity to swim with whale sharks, which is hugely unique. And it is a world biodiversity hotspot. So if there's any interest at all in like flora, fauna, environment, marine biological sciences, then this is absolutely the best place, because you'll do field trips up and down the coast and you'll explore all of these areas as well. The university itself is one of the group of 8, which is the best research intensive universities in Australia. So there's 43 Australian universities, and we're in the top 8. So the group of 8 is similar to the Ivy League in the US or the Russell Group in the UK, if you're more familiar with those regions. We are number 72 in the world in terms of the QS rankings. I think the next university in Western Australia is ranked in the 300s. So there is quite a big difference between us and the other 5 universities. And we're number 1 for graduate employability in Western Australia. So that does mean that the big multinational, big name companies will come to UWA first, and they'll actively look to recruit our students into jobs many times before the students have completed their course, through things like networking fairs and recruitment expos. We also have really great global connections. Like I said, with our positioning within the Asia, Africa, Europe area, we are very well positioned for that. And because of our ranking, we do attract fantastic researchers and teaching staff and academics. So we do have 5-star rating for teaching quality, which I think goes hand in hand with the university's prestige. We're not a huge university, and we're not a small university. We are mid-sized for Australia. So we have around 25,000 students, and about 4,000 of those are international students from 110 countries. So you can see that diversity, which we're very proud of as well. So we want you in your class to be immersed in an international culture of many different nationalities, because that will reflect the workplace that you're going into as well. So learning how to work with cross-cultural teams and things like that is really important. We have 22 different schools, and I'll go through those in a bit as well. The campus itself is within the city centre boundaries. So we are about a 10-minute drive from the Perth CBD, which you can see sort of in the background here on the river. The buses go every few minutes from the city into the campus during semester. So it's very easy to get around. And you've also got UWA College Row, which is the university residential college accommodation where you can live. So that's right on campus. You can very easily just walk to your classes from there within a few minutes. You've got the airport just half an hour's drive. You've got the beach just 10 minutes drive. So it's a very well located campus and a very beautiful location on the river there where you can do lots of water sports, like Sergio mentioned, rowing, kayaking, that sort of thing. Lots of bird life, dolphins, pelicans in the river as well. So just a very nice place to be. Inside the campus itself, we have amazing facilities. So, you know, if you're doing business, we've got a fantastic business school that's the newest building with a world-class trading room. So this is set up as the largest trading room in the Southern Hemisphere, and we have students and professionals from all over coming to access the facilities here where you can like sort of work on real-life trading and hedge funds. We have the engineering zone, or the E zone, which was just opened in 2019, which is a world-class research collaboration teaching space for engineering and data science. And then if you're looking at like life and physical sciences, we've got the Baylis building, which has all of these different laboratories. Like I think there's 5 floors of that building just dedicated to research and labs. So just amazing facilities and a lot of money being invested by the university on always improving the facilities for students. So these are the study areas that we've currently got. So we are a multidisciplinary university, so everything from architecture, business, computing, engineering, health, humanities, which is the area Sergio was in, music and fine arts, natural and physical sciences, law, psychology. So we cover all of these areas, but there are some areas that we're particularly strong in terms of the world rankings. And you can see the rankings from 2024. So these were just released a couple of weeks ago. Things like mineral and mining, which is to be expected considering our resource sector, anatomy, sports related subjects, geology, earth and marine sciences. Like I said, being in a biodiversity hotspot, having access to the Indian Ocean and the river means that this is a really great place. You've got a living classroom outside your door. Agriculture, petroleum engineering, and geophysics. So these are just some of the areas where we really excel in terms of teaching and rankings. So for our courses, we have undergraduate, postgraduate, and research. For undergraduate, we have comprehensive degrees where you can put any 2 subjects or specializations together to form a unique degree for yourself. So you may want to do something like marine science and environmental science, or you could choose 2 completely different things. Like you could do marketing and marine science, or you could do marine science and electronic music. So the idea of these is that it's super flexible and you can literally create your own degree based on 2 areas that you're interested in, no matter how diverse they might be. Then we have specialized degrees. They're usually 4 years, and that's where you really focus in just on one area. So that might be psychology, it might be engineering, it might be social work. Then we have combined bachelor degrees where you do 2 degrees together. Excuse me. One that I wanted to point out, which is I think a really great and unique degree to us for an undergraduate student, is a combined bachelor and master's. So this is just 4 years in duration, but in those 4 years, you can get both a bachelor's degree and a master's degree together. So you come out with both of those degrees. So these are mainly in the areas like sciences. So we've got a lot of these in the marine, the earth, the environmental sciences. You do need to have quite a high score either in high school or through our foundation pathway to get onto one of these. But if you do, it does have great results, because to get a master's degree and an undergraduate in 4 years is quite exceptional. So it is fast learning environment, and it's definitely a good one to have a look at. For postgraduate, we offer everything from a 6-month graduate certificate through to a 2-year master's degree. Most students are looking at a 2-year master's, and that's mainly because you do need to be studying a minimum of 2 years in order to obtain this working visa at the end of your studies. And then we have research degrees as well. So if you're looking at going down an academic pathway, we have PhDs, we have masters by research, that kind of thing. I'm just going to go through some of the main areas that we will focus on, just being mindful of the time. So with engineering, the focus of our engineering school really is about the future of energy and powering the future. So looking at sustainability, looking at renewable and future energy. In the undergraduate space, we have a 4-year Bachelor of Engineering. Within that, there's 8 different specializations that you can do, ranging from civil, chemical engineering, environmental engineering, biomedical, software, and a few more. And then we've got the Master of Professional Engineering. Again, many specializations to choose from, and that's a 2-year master's course. That includes a 12-week paid work placement, and it also includes a research project. So it's a very comprehensive degree that you can get within 2 years in your chosen specialization. We then have a couple of specialized courses for students that are already graduated as engineers, but they're wanting to further specialize into a different area. So if you want to focus on renewable and future energy, or low emission energy technology, or offshore and coastal engineering, and you're already an engineering graduate, then these 2-year masters would be for you. This is the E-Zone that I mentioned. So it is the $80 million facility that was opened up. It was a joint funding project between 2 of our main partners, Rio Tinto and BHP. It's got 3 engineering labs, 13 studios. It's got an amazing sky garden when they hold barbecues and social events and things like that. And it's just an absolutely amazing building. It's all like electronically censored. It was actually designed by our architecture students as well. So a very cool building and very cool facility to be studying in. What we also focus on is our practical learning experiences. So we will integrate practical learning into all of our units as much as we can. And if you're doing the Bachelor of Engineering or any of the master's courses, this will be inbuilt into the course. So 450 hours of professional practice in the undergraduate engineering, week-long workshops to develop your workplace skills feature as well. So what we want is to make sure that you're getting the practical experience that is necessary to succeed in your job, but we also want to make sure that the experience you're getting is what the employers are looking for. So we go out to industry and we ask them for the particular skills that they're looking for in the employees that they're getting from our courses, and we design our courses around that. So you can make sure that you're very employable at the end of it. Okay, this is just a little bit about the accreditation, which is through Engineers Australia, and the course curriculums, which are designed and implemented by industry panels as well. So it's all cutting edge. We do have a great need for engineering and building students. So we have got close to 2 million workers that we are looking at getting by 2050 to reach the government's net zero emission targets. And the average salary for engineering graduates is over 71,000 Australian dollars per year. And I can tell you that in certain sectors of engineering, such as mining, that is going to increase quite a lot from that national average. Okay. Moving on to business and commerce, these are the courses that we offer in masters. So we've got marketing, professional accounting, business analytics, commerce, applied finance, public policy, and our MBA. In the undergraduate space, we have very similar areas as well where you can specialize, and that's usually through a Bachelor of Commerce or a Bachelor of Business. So they're the two undergraduate courses. We're the number 4 ranked business school in Australia. We have 30 corporate sponsors, and I'll show you a picture on the next slide of what those sponsors look like and how close they are in proximity to the university. And we have some great partnerships, such as with Harvard Business School, where you can actually do some online core units through them as well, which is obviously a great feature to have on your CV when you're applying for jobs or further study. So this is the Perth city skyline, and you can see the range of sponsors that we have connected to the university. So just bearing in mind that these are only 10 minutes from the university. So things like KPMG, Deloitte, PricewaterhouseCoopers, Ernst & Young, IBM, Chevron, Rio Tinto, all of these are connected with the university. So these are opportunities for you to go and do work placements, to get corporate mentorship, which I think Sergio touched on as well. So having a mentor in industry that will actually talk you through, help guide you through your career progression, your networks, that kind of thing. In the data and computer science area, we have a Bachelor of Science with 3 specializations in cybersecurity, which is ever increasing. We just had news overnight of a cyber attack in Australia. So this is like at the front of everyone's minds right now. Bachelor of Advanced Computer Science, where you can do things like robotics and AI. And then in the master's degree or postgraduate space, we've got data science, information technology, and a software engineering specialization. The courses in data and computer science are fully accredited by the Australian Computer Society. We have some real state-of-the-art computing, so one of the first quantum computing hubs in the world, and some amazing academics doing some really cutting-edge research in things like AI and data mining, computational logics and languages and things like that. And yes, if you want to know where the money is in Australia, it's definitely in data science. So the average sort of medium base salary is $115,000, nearly $116,000, which definitely shows me to be in the wrong industry. And 60% of the mining software is developed in Perth. So that just shows our connection both with software engineering and development and the mining sector, where those two combine to show a really unique aspect, okay? And a huge projection in jobs in this area as well. So I can assure you that this job is going to be in demand for quite some time in Australia, and particularly in Western Australia with the connection to the mining industry. And the last area that I'll talk about is where we really excel, which is the natural and physical sciences. So like I said, we are a world biodiversity hotspot, so a living classroom for you to utilize, and 100+ units offering practical work experiences. So the combined Bachelor Masters has many options. And even if you're coming through a pathway, for example, through UWA College, you can do some of these combined Bachelor Masters, just assuming that you get the right score in your foundation or your diploma year. Okay, and then we have a bunch of 2-year master's degrees, so environmental science, biological, marine, biotech, etc. Within each of these masters, you can further specialize as well. So for example, if you're doing environmental science, you may be looking at conservation as your specialization. So you do have a specialization more in depth than what's on the screen here. This picture here is a field trip with some of our geoscience students who are up north, taking a trip out to one of the places where they'll do practical work and you know, gather for their research experiments and things like that. So quite often there'll be a whole week where you'll all travel up as a group and you'll go and do these field trips. So it's a really fun time, as well as getting to explore some of the West Australian environment. We have a lot of business and government partnerships as well, and we have some of the best rankings in Australia. So for things like agriculture, mineral mining, geology, geophysics, earth and marine sciences, it is really one of the best places that you can study. Entry requirements for Mexican students from high school. We look at the Mexican high school diploma, but you would need to have something in addition to that to come directly into a university course. So if you had the Mexican high school diploma or the Colombian or Brazilian, you would need to combine that with SATs, for example, or APs. If you've just got the high school diploma on its own, we would just need you to do a foundation. We call it a year, but it can be as less as 8 months, and that would get you into the course and provide you with some background for English and also for the subject that you're wanting to study. In addition to that, you could choose to do 1 semester or 1 year at your home university and then transfer over as well. And that's perfectly fine to do if you prefer that option. Then you may transfer into the 1st or 2nd year. We would just have to assess how much study you've already done. For master's courses for Mexican students coming into things like commerce and sciences, we'd be looking at a 70% mark from your Mexican university. For things like engineering and IT, it would be more like a 79%. But this is quite general information, so please do look at the specific course that you're interested in. And higher degree by research, so PhD, for example, we're looking at a high mark plus quite substantial evidence of prior research experience. All right, and for English, it's an average IELTS score of 6.5 with no band lower than 6, or the equivalent in TOEFL or SAT or Pearson's. We do have a whole list of English tests that we will accept, so have a look at those. And if you don't meet the English directly, we do have English language pathways through our Centre for English Language Teaching. So you can look at, like, for example, a bridging course, which might be for just 10 weeks before you start your course to just boost your English skills. And once you're at the university and studying in English, you'd be so surprised how quickly you pick it up when you're immersed in that experience. In terms of the scholarships that we offer, for undergraduate students and for postgraduate students, they are tuition fee discounts. So we have 3 bands of $6,000, $10,000 and $12,000 per year that can be discounted from your fees depending on what your results are. So if we look first at undergraduate, which is this first table, and we look at the $12,000 amount, to get that, you would need to get a 38 in your IB or a 1420 in your SAT. Or if you're coming through a foundation program, you would get 86% for that, and that would give you that amount off. For $10,000, it's exactly the same, but we would look at a 74% in your foundation program, a 1270 in your SATs, or a 30 in your IB. So that's how they work. It's just really important to note that these are per year amounts. So if you're coming in to do, for example, a 4-year undergraduate program, you would get that $10,000 if that's your scholarship amount 4 times. So you get that every year that you're studying, which would be $40,000 value. So just important when you're looking at scholarships to work out whether it's per year or if it's a one-off payment, because the value can be more or less depending on that. For postgraduate students, it's the same. We do look at your final result. So if we're looking at Mexican universities, for example, a 91 would give you $12,000 off, an 85 would give you $10,000 off, and a 79 would give you $6,000 off per year. These are 2024 amounts. We're looking at 2025 amounts at the moment. We're hoping it will stay the same, but it should be confirmed in the next couple of weeks. So we will let everyone know, and that'll be on our website. So yeah, just keep an eye on that. And when you're doing your foundation or diploma, we definitely do still have the scholarships for those. And I think UWA College also does have scholarships for the actual foundation program as well. So they can tell you a bit more about those. Okay, the academic year runs from 2 semesters. Semester 1 starts at the end of February and semester 2 starts at the end of July. So that's coming up quite soon for us. And each semester is just over 3 months long, about 3.5 months. And then we have a large summer break, which is between sort of mid-November to the end of February. And that's where you can go home and visit your family. You can take some time to travel, or you can stay and work. So in Australia, with your student visa, you can work full time during your summer breaks with no restrictions on that. And during semester, you can work, I think it's 24 hours per week at the moment, or 48 hours a week, a fortnight. And there's, again, no restriction to that. It can be on or off campus. It can be in whatever industry or field you get your job in. And you can arrange your timetable so that, you know, maybe you only come to classes Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday because you have Thursday and Friday that you work in your job. Or you might arrange your schedule so that you do just afternoon classes so that you can have the mornings to work. So it's very flexible. We don't expect you to be there, you know, 9 to 5 every day of the week. It's usually 15 to 20 hours of contact time on campus as a rule. And then you would put in private study of around the same amount as well. Really important if you can attend the orientation week, which happens 1 week before the semester start, because that's just a way to get familiar with the campus, get to know, you know, some students and the student clubs, and be introduced to the facilities. We have a lot of student support, which I know Sergio touched on as well, like uni mentor, airport pickup, the orientation. We have an entire team of student wellbeing officers. So they look after students. They're your go-to. If you've got any problem at all, they can point you in the right direction or help you. It might be just that you're feeling a bit homesick. Maybe you don't know how to set up a bank account. Maybe you're having a problem with one area of your study. They're dedicated staff to support international students, okay? The International Student Lounge is a drop-in centre where you can go and have a private place to study. You can hang out. They run social events. So that's a really nice space for international students. And the Career Centre is there for career guidance for your graduate career, for help with finding a part-time job. They provide a jobs board with all of the vacancies. They organise networking. They can get you set up with internships. So they will be a really crucial part of your time at UWA. And Study Smarter, I'll just point out as well. They run free workshops all year round for students that might want to just improve on one area. So it might be on CV writing or interview skills or academic research or English language. So get involved in that if you feel like there's an area that you want to improve, all free of charge, all for currently enrolled students. Campus accommodation is just across the road from the university, like I mentioned. It ranges in cost depending on where you're staying and what you're wanting to get in terms of, you know, what your room looks like. The cheapest at the moment is 420 Australian dollars a week. That's at University Hall. That does include 16 meals per week. It includes a room with a private study area, your own bed, so you don't like share. It's not a dorm or anything like that. You've got your private space. And then you will come to meals in the big dining hall, and then they'll have a gymnasium, they'll have like a sports hall, they'll have different areas to hang out, lounge areas. They do a lot of events. It's actually a really fun place to be, and they have a really great program of student mentorship and care and pastoral support for students. So $420 will include your meals, your Wi-Fi, your room cleaning, all of your bills, all of your furniture. So you literally just go in there and everything's taken care of, okay? If you choose to live in the city, that's absolutely fine. And it's, as I said, very close, only 10 minutes by bus anyway. And that is cheaper because you don't have your meals provided. So you will have to be cooking in the shared facilities. But that ranges at the moment from $224 per week for like a shared dorm, or $305 a week for a single room. But these are really nice purpose-built accommodation, very new. So you can see that in the pictures, how they're designed with, again, a lot of areas for socializing. Some has even got swimming pools, gyms, rooftop terrace, things like that. One of the differences here is you'll be sharing with students from other universities, maybe from other English language colleges, whereas the UWA accommodation will be mainly just UWA students. And on accommodation, sorry, just to touch on this, it's really important if you're planning to be in Perth. So Sergio, like next year, I know you're coming back. Marielle, if you're planning to come in and do your diploma, or you're planning to come and transfer, get your accommodation application in early, because it does get pretty booked up. And we definitely don't want you to be like in a university accommodation that, you know, is not your first choice or you're not happy with. So really important to make sure that you get that sorted out as one of your number one priorities. And I'm always happy to answer any questions or help with that as well. The student clubs and societies, I know Sergio was a big advocate for getting involved, and absolutely, this is such a good way, not just to meet like-minded people, but to just increase your networks. Like, Perth is a smaller city, of course, but that can be a real advantage to you as a student. It can mean that you can stand out more, right? So you might be, you know, doing really well in your course, and you might be putting your hands up for all of the clubs and getting involved in organizing events, and that's going to really get you known in your circle, because it is a smaller environment, so you're not going to get lost in the crowd. And a lot of these student-run clubs also have good connections with the industries that they work in as well. So it's just really great to take any opportunity that you can. So we have over 1,200 events per year between all of the clubs. And again, this is one of the great reasons you should attend orientation, because you can speak to the club members, get a feel for what they do, and really get involved. If you're into sports, there's a lot of sports clubs you can do as well. So because we've got the river there, we have a lot of water sports. We've got swimming pool on campus. You can get involved into some traditional Australian sports, like Australian rules football or cricket, netball as well. Or you can just do some sports for fun. Or if you competitively compete, you can also join one of those clubs as well. I'm in the process of getting a pickleball club. I don't know if you have pickleball in Mexico, but we're starting a club which is quite focused on that. So that'll be a new one. Maybe I'll see you there for some pickleball games when you come to Perth. And this is one of our geoscience students, Jorge, as well. He's actually studying his second year, and this is some of the photographs from him with a quokka on Rottnest Island and taking part into some sports as well. So he's one of our Colombian students that's really having a good time at the moment. A couple of other pictures from him on some of the field trips as well, just to showcase where you might go. I think Sergio mentioned this, but all the public transport provides you with a 40% discount as a student. But within the city centre, we've got what we call CAT buses, or central area transit buses. They're completely free as well. So that's free for everyone, help you get around the city. And at the moment, school students all have free transport everywhere. So they're trying to implement a lot of ways to encourage people to get public transport. So that's a real benefit to our students as well. I'm just going to leave it on this. I really love this slide because it showcases UWA through the season. So the first one is summer. The second picture here is the fall or autumn, where we're in right now. We've got a couple of days left of fall before it gets to winter. That's winter at the boathouse. I know Sergio has been to the boathouse. It's really beautiful in all times of the weather, all times of the year. And then in the springtime, we have the beautiful jacarandas, which are on campus, really making everything look beautiful and purple. And I just share that because sometimes students think that in Perth or in Australia, we don't have the seasons and that it's sort of just hot and sunny all year round. We do have a lovely temperature all year round, but we definitely have distinct seasons, and you'll see that with the changing of the trees. But it's never going to get too cold. So it is very outdoorsy. So yeah, just wanted to say thank you for those of you that are listening now or will be listening in the future that couldn't attend today. And a big thank you to Sergio for your inputs. And I know we're both happy to take any questions. And thanks, Paulina, for organizing this.
No, I'm happy to. I think that there are a few that Mariel could clarify, or I don't know if you got it very clear in regards that you can start your undergrad at La UNAM and then go and continue as if it were your foundation year. But here it became a question to me. Ruth, in that case, if Mariel wanted to do the bachelor plus master, it applies? Yeah. Okay.
Absolutely, yeah. So if Mariel's doing, she's got two options. If she's doing her study for a semester or a year, firstly in Mexico, and then applies as a transfer, that can still be used to get into the combined bachelor masters. And we can have a separate chat about that to just explain how that works. But essentially, we'll be looking at the units that you've studied in Mexico and the average marks that you're getting. So they would both have to line up to be entry into that course. If you choose to do it the other way, which would be to come to UWA and do the foundation year or 8 months before you go into your course, then we would just then look at what your score is in the foundation year, which would then meet the requirement to get into that combined bachelor masters. So it can be either way, and we can talk a little bit more about that separately, but both of those options would make sense. Yeah.
Okay. So I think that, well, I don't know. I had that question myself. So
yeah, for sure.
Okay. Well, I don't see Fernando or Carla doing any questions. I don't know if you guys have any questions. Or Mariel, do you have any other question? Okay, I think not. Okay.
Just a question about the pathways. You mentioned foundation in the case of Mariel. Is a diploma available as well for people that have done 12 years in Latin America, but obviously not want to do a diploma and then go into the bachelor?
Yeah. So the diploma is usually for students who have done the Australian equivalent of 12 years of study, so up to Australian Year 12 standard. Then they can do a diploma, which would be 1 year, and then taking them into the second year of a bachelor's degree. And we've got that in commerce, data science, and computing and engineering at the moment. For Mexico, as it stands, they consider the high school diploma to be equivalent to 11 years of Australian schooling, which is why it's a foundation year. So if it's equivalent to 11 years, they must do the foundation, or if it's equivalent to 12 years, they can do the diploma. And that's why if it's sometimes easier if a student sits SATs, because SATs plus the Mexican diploma will be able to come in directly. If they do SATs and there's a slightly lower score than is needed for direct, then that maybe they'll do the diploma then as well. And the admissions team has like an entire sort of qualifications database, as you would know, Gonzalo. So they would look at the equivalent from different countries. So it's not to say all of the countries in Latin America would be the same. Some of them would qualify into the diploma and some would be into the foundation.
Perfect, thanks.
That's okay. It's just important to note, because we talk about the pathway provider, which is called UWA College. It's on UWA campus. It's right at the heart of the campus. So students are UWA students when they're at the college. So unlike some other universities where it's sort of located in a different place, you're on the UWA campus, you're taking classes in your area of study with students who are doing that UWA course. So that happens right from the beginning. So you're immersed in that experience. You've got the student card, you're using the facilities, you're having the same teachers. That's just really important to note. So we're not expecting you to transition once and then again into the university. It's all done in one place. You'd be living usually on the campus itself as well. So it just makes it a lot easier for you when you've completed just to continue on the campus.
No, exactly. Yes, obviously.
No, es que
Sergio, did you have something to add? Yeah, sorry.
Solo porque quería preguntar a Fernando y a Carla si están interesados en como en algún programa en específico que les pudiéramos como dar información puntual sobre el programa que quieran estudiar o si están interesados en algo en específico de la Universidad de Western Australia.
No contestan, igual
Ok.
están en clase o algo así.
Sí.
Ya sabe. Okay.
Mm.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Ruth, for your time and for the length of the presentation. It was pretty good, actually. And thank you, Sergio, for joining us and giving us your perspective, being a alumni from Western Australia, University of Western Australia. We're so delighted to have you guys and for all the information and the help that you gave us.
Thanks, Paulina. And we're happy to answer any other questions should they come through in the future. So
thank you so
thanks for
much,
your
and we
time as
will
well.
upload the video. Thank you so much,
Lovely.
guys. Have a good one.
Thank you.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye.